God bless. It's King Rain coming with another video. In this particular video, we're going to be talking about LeBron James and him responding to Jay Williams' comparison of him and Scottie Pippen as far as their roles on their particular teams. Skip and Shannon are going to talk about it. I'll chime in with my perspective. I'm also going to diffuse particular myths, things that I feel are myths in reference to Michael Jordan, or not even necessarily myths, just things that have been given out as supposedly factual information when really it's fictional. But they're going to give their perspective, and I'm going to chime in with mine.
Kindly to that and responded with this. Explain to me what the bleep I gotta do with the subject matter. I'm over here minding my damn business, preparing for Houston. And by the way, I ain't never been nobody but my damn self. That's followed by a crown and another, a little swear word there. I can't say everything on TV, guys. Shannon, do you like LeBron's tweet?
I love it.
The hell kind of question is that, Jenny? Do I like it? I love it. I love it when LeBron James responds to his critics in the media. They always coming at him, talking about he wasn't clutch enough and he isn't this and he isn't that. Not my boo. My boo dominant.
At some point in time, Skip, you got to call out this blasphemy. Now, I don't get what Richard Jefferson's talking about. Because Scottie Pippen was never, ever thought of as better than Michael Jordan. And see, Skip, you remember when this pandemic went on in the early parts of June. It was supposed to be released later. But because we were in a pandemic, there was nothing on television. They released this documentary. It was called The Last Dance. And what The Last Dance did is that it clouded people's judgment. Because people believe that Michael Jordan won every finals that he played in the NBA. And that's not true. Michael Jordan, in his first...
Well, while I interrupt you, Shannon, Michael Jordan did win every finals that he went to. Now, as far as giving this mythical aura that, Michael Jordan was just, the perfect player and he just, destroyed every competition that was in his way. He did later on in his career, but, every player on their uprising is going to have to deal with some type of turbulent matters, whether it's something pertaining to the game or outside the game. But Shannon, you are the one who actually puts Michael Jordan on the pedestal and makes it seem like he was God, so to speak, because you compare him to God and you compare LeBron to Michael Jordan.
3 playoff appearances, won 1 game. He got swept twice. He won 1 game against the Milwaukee Bucks. So if I'm not mistaken,
I mean, what does that really matter though, Shannon? So what if he lost or got swept twice? The man is perfect in the finals as far as his record. Hasn't lost a finals ever. So that shit about him losing those particular games or having those low moments doesn't mean anything when it amounts to the full scope of his career.
How many you scored against the Celtics in that first game?
It was not.
How about 63?
So now that's your question.
How about God and sneakers?
So is it about scoring or is it about winning? I just need to know. Because the argument that you always use when Peyton Manning was putting up these big numbers, you were telling me Tom Brady was winning titles.
So you're saying Michael Jordan's overrated. Is that what you're saying?
See,
I think you just said...
And that's what also clouds the true debate that they have amongst each other, is that they bring in so many different individuals, and then you try to bring in different individuals from different sports and then try to compare them to other individuals in another sport, and that causes confusion instead of just keeping a topic simply on basketball. But like I said, Shannon will make things fit LeBron's perception, but will have it as a mark against Jordan. You know.
That you just made the case, and that's the wrongest case you've ever made in the history of this show.
I'm going to get back to my point. I love D. Wade. I love what he taking on his three sons, raising them. One of his sons chose to live her best life and says, Dad, I want to identify as this, and he supported it. Even though...
And not to go off subject, but that, I'm not going to really speak on that too much, but that should show you what type of person Shannon is for him to still want to address Dwayne Wade's son, because that's who he is, as a she, when he knows damn well that it's a boy. But we all know, you know, the strange relationship and the somewhat strange intricacies of how Dwayne Wade and Gabrielle Union's relationship is, you know. She has said herself that she does things for Dwayne Wade that the average woman doesn't do for her man, if he is also average or of the spirit that deals with the Most High. I'm going to say that. I'm not even going to say average.
He caught a lot of criticism. He said, I love my child and I want what's best for my child. So I love D. Wade. Even as D. Wade won a title, D. Wade was finals MVP. No one has ever said Dwayne Wade was a better player than Michael Jordan. No one has ever said that.
No.
So for for Jay Williams to come out and says that LeBron James was Scottie Pippen to Michael Jordan was a flat out lie and flat out wrong.
It's not old.
I'm not going to say that he was flat out wrong, Shannon. I will say this, though, that from the mental perspective of the game, Dwayne Wade was the Michael Jordan and LeBron James was the Scottie Pippen. But if we want to talk about as far as their game, we know that LeBron was the Michael Jordan as far as the play on the court, and Dwayne Wade was the Scottie Pippen. But I feel like a whole lot of things get taken out of context because so many individuals are so fanned out for these basketball players like you are, Shannon, in reference to LeBron James, that you let your emotions fuel your alleged information as opposed to giving out facts to the people.
Lie. It's just wrong.
It's a lie.
wrong. You know,
It's a lie.
Well, it's not. Well, I mean, he's not like making up. It's his opinion.
Skip. At some point in time, I mean, there's a lot of opinion that floats around that gets information. My point is that has Giannis played great? No. Giannis is about to be a two-time league MVP. He's Defensive Player of the Year. So under that argument, the year that Michael Jordan won the Defensive Player of the Year, the MVP, who was Michael Jordan on that team? Because he got bounced in the playoffs. See, people got to stop this foolishness that Michael Jordan got to the finals every year and he won every year. No.
Like I said, though, Shannon, anyone who really looks at basketball and has history of the sport knows that Michael Jordan didn't go to the finals every year, and that in the beginning part of his career, he wasn't as prestigious as he is now, or at the latter part of his career. But let's not get it misconstrued. Michael Jordan has, since he stepped in the NBA, has been a great player. Let's not get that misconstrued. But like I previously stated earlier in the video, you compare Michael Jordan to God, and you compare LeBron James to Michael Jordan. And that's why, as far as you debating who's better between the two, you would truly never win that debate because you don't give factual information. You give some facts. I'm not going to completely down you, Shannon. You give some facts, but in other parts, you let your emotions get the best of you, and you use that to fuel the alleged information that you're giving, and it's false.
Oh, he didn't. His first 7 years in the league, Michael Jordan did not get to the finals.
Right. Well, it took some time, and then what?
And that's fine, Shannon. That's fine. It doesn't take anything from him just because he didn't go to the finals his first 7 years. I mean, that doesn't really mean anything, Shannon. At the end of the day, Michael Jordan still got 6 championships. How many LeBron has? He only has 3 championships in 17 years. But, you know, because he went to the finals 9 times, and he goes to the finals. I mean, we could say the same thing about your boo thing, LeBron James. He's been in the league since 2003, and why has he only been to the finals 9 times?
Happened. Tell the people what happened. Once he broke through, what happened? 6 straight times, 6 straight MVPs.
So if you don't mind me asking, how many years has Giannis been in the league?
Yeah. Okay. So
See, like I said, we'll mention things that have no bearing on what the true topic of the conversation is. And that's the way he does to confuse and throw Skip off from being able to give more tangent facts.
Who's to say once he break through, he doesn't keep it going?
is that what you're predicting? No, are you predicting that?
Oh my goodness.
Well, do you see that? We deal in opinions. What does your heart
My
and your gut tell
opinion
you?
is that people keep making Michael Jordan is transcendent. He is a historical basketball player. But can we stop this notion that Michael Jordan never lost? Michael Jordan won every game. Michael Jordan went to the playoffs all 15 years. He went to the playoffs all 15 years. He won the title all 15 years. Okay, yes, Giannis didn't play up to the MVP standard against Toronto. He lost. But Michael Jordan was MVP in a bunch of years that he did not even make it to the finals. And nobody said a thing. We've got to stop this, Skip. If a guy wins the MVP in the season and he doesn't win the title, you got to stop thinking he's a bum. That's not true.
I mean, and no one thinks that, Shannon. When someone wins the MVP, that's basically saying that you've been outstanding compared to all the other players as far as the season. And that's basically that's that particular player's run as far as them being the best player in the league for that particular year. Just because a player wins MVP and gets bounced out of the playoffs or doesn't win the championship, no one looks at him like a bum, Shannon. But you would put that out there because you know that LeBron, who only has 4 MVPs and 3 championships, you know, you wouldn't apply that to him, but you want to throw this into the topic as it has some bearing to it. It doesn't.
True.
Okay.
It's very seldom, Skip, that a guy wins MVP and the finals in the same year. So when Kevin
It's
Durant,
very seldom because it's only happened now 3rd time.
no, I'm just saying the regular season MVP.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And Defensive Player of the Year.
No, I'm just saying the regular season. I'm just
Okay,
saying
I got it.
MVP.
Yeah.
Because the year Kevin Durant won the MVP, Skip, did he make it to the finals? No. So what was he?
Okay, he was back-to-back Finals MVP. When
Skip, that was not then.
Okay.
You keep trying to move the
I
goalpost.
don't move the goalposts.
Yeah.
I'm just spitting facts
In
back at you.
2014, how many finals MVPs did Kevin Durant win? In 2014.
He was stuck with Russell Westbrook.
You changed the argument.
I'm
You
not
changed the
saying-
argument again.
No!
Change the argument again.
I first guessed that. I was so far ahead of that curve, it was a joke. It was a joke. I was the one. I said, do you see what's happening in Oklahoma City? Did I not? You gotta give me credit. I first guess. I don't second guess.
Skip, that's not the argument.
I make it first. You look at it in hindsight. I make it first. I first guess everything.
Skip, you get kudos for that, but that's
Well, not from you.
Skip, but that's not the argument in this.
Okay, what is the argument right here, right now? It starts with Giannis.
Yes.
Who is he? What is he? What will he be? That's the subject at hand.
He's a 2-time.
No, the subject at hand is LeBron responding to Jay Williams as far as comparing him to Scottie Pippen and saying that he was a Scottie Pippen on that Miami Heat team with Dwayne Wade. Giannis has no bearing on the subject. This is just a way that Shannon tries to confuse you, and it works, and you confuse Shannon, and it works, and then there's never no true ending to the debate.
He's about to be a two-time league MVP and a defensive player of the year.
Okay.
That is a young player.
Okay? What did start this? Richard Jefferson tweeted, Giannis might be a Pippen. He said might be a Pippen, ... There I said it. This is the tweet from Richard Jefferson, who obviously played with LeBron. He's played a long time in the league. Not a great player, but a pretty good player.
So great. So how good? So if he's not great, how many good players have won the MVP in the regular season?
Okay, I don't know what the point is of what you're asking.
But you said he might be a good player. He's a two-time league MVP.
I'm trying to give him some credibility here. He played alongside LeBron. He loves LeBron, right?
Okay.
Okay, might be a Pippen about Giannis. There I said it. He needs his Jordan. That's the tweet that detonated all this from Richard Jefferson, okay? I co-signed that tweet because I first guessed that.
And on the side note, if y'all ever notice, all of the players that were in the NBA that played alongside LeBron James in the NBA and actually had a somewhat good rapport for him, they always push him in the media in some sort of way, whether it's through trying to get awards or just speaking on him just in general. And that's one thing that shows you the difference between LeBron James and Michael Jordan. LeBron James needs the media to some extent to help him play harder while he's on the court. When Michael Jordan, it was media involved, but not to this extent. And Michael Jordan went out there and did his thing every single time. And he didn't go to the media complaining about, oh, my teammates, I need better teammates. And he didn't, Michael Jordan didn't complain. He worked, and he continued to work until he found something that worked for him and had him be able to ascend to the next level. And that's also just one thing that makes them stand apart as far as just their demeanor and how they go about controversy and just leading their teams. It's a complete difference.
I told you last year, games 3, 4, 5, and 6 against the Toronto Raptors, Giannis shrank. What do we call him? 6'11"? He played like he was 6'3" in that series in the last 4 games. In the fourth quarter of those 4 straight games, he completely disappeared. He was ineffective to the point he was shooting 29% from the field over those 4 games because they walled him off and said, you have a big hole in your game. You have no mid-range jump shot. You cannot hurt us from 7 feet or 8 feet or 12 feet. This year he tried to shoot more threes, and sometimes he can be fairly effective from 3. But when the pressure is on, he cannot be effective from 3 because he's not a very good three-point shooter. And you know and I know he is a liability at the free throw line, especially in playoff games. See what happened the other night against the Heat when he had a chance to make it a little closer. Remember, it was 43 seconds left, and he badly missed 2 straight free throws that surprised nobody. So here we go again against Miami, a smart team, tough team mentally and physically, with a good coach in Eric Spoelstra, and they just said, we're going to do what Toronto did last year. We're going to say, you can't have this anymore. In the regular season, he gets all he wants at the rim. He is this generation's Wilt Chamberlain, just finger rolling at the rim. He just swoops to the hoop and lays the ball home. And once he gets downhill on you, you know and I know, you cannot stop this man. But you can stop him with your mind and your strategy, because if you take that away, he doesn't have enough more to complement his game to hurt your defensive strategy of build a wall about 3 feet from the basket, right? Okay, that means by his standards, he is being overrated. I keep doing that, and I'll do it in all caps, overrated, because he did just do something only 2 other players have ever done. MVP, Defensive Player of the Year, in the same year. And by the way, speaking of Defensive Player of the Year.
So what did Jordan do in that year?
Okay, okay, that's fine. But he did it. Is that not a historic feat?
We got to go do it. Is that not a historic feat?
Okay, I ask you, did Michael Jordan ever flame out in a playoff series the way LeBron did in 09, 10, and 11, twice for Cleveland and the first year in Miami? Did one time he ever have one playoff series where you said, Michael, what happened? You shrank, you disappeared. Nobody ever said that. Even when he wasn't getting out of the first round, he was scaring the holy hell out of the Boston Celtics, who barely swept him. They won close games each time. One game, the first game, he scored 63 and it went to overtime. They were relieved to get out from under the guy that Larry Bird called God disguised as Michael Jordan.
Hey, Skip, if we look at the last three finals LeBron has lost, he's 33, 11, and 9.
Okay.
So,
And see, that's what Shannon does when it comes to LeBron James. He doesn't want to expound on the losses and the issues that LeBron James has had in reference to his playoff success, but he wants to bring up his numbers in reference to, oh, he averaged 33 points, 11 rebounds, and 8 assists, but they still lost. So does that really mean anything? And then, you know, that's how you can tell that Shannon, he just a fan of LeBron. He's not dealing with facts. He's just so much of a fan of LeBron that whenever someone says something denigrating towards him, he's going to bring up his stats. Oh, well, name a player who in the finals averaged a triple-double or this or that, but did he win? That's what matters.
what credit do we give for that? Did he win? Did Michael Jordan win?
Yeah, once he broke through, he just won and won and won. He would have won 8 straight finals.
Who's to say that Giannis, once he breaks through?
So here's the point. The Giannis I'm seeing, he's not an alpha. He doesn't have, as they say, that dog in him. He does not have takeover intangibles. He's a complementary star, and Richard is exactly right. He's in search of maybe not a Jordan, but a co-star. He's Anthony Davis in New Orleans, where he was the PER Prince in search of his LeBron, and he found him. Anthony Davis does not have that dog in him, as Charles Barkley said a few weeks back. Anthony Davis.
What I will say about that is that those bullshit intangibles that someone like Skip Bayless may give, oh, he doesn't have that dog in him, that doesn't mean shit in the overall perspective of the game. Either you can play or you can't. Someone's got to win and somebody's got to lose. Plain and simple. It doesn't matter about who has more dog in them than, or whatever the case. That shit doesn't mean anything. We can look at someone like a Patrick Beverly. He has that dog in him, but he's not an amazing player. He's great on the defensive end. So, you know, these bullshit intangibles that you hear from these analysts, it holds no bearing truly on the game. Either you can play or you can't. That's all that matters.
Davis is a complimentary Robin to Batman. He's a supremely talented Robin, but you watch, now that the playoffs are starting for the Lakers and the spotlight is getting really bright and hot, let's see how Anthony does under that spotlight. This ain't Portland anymore.
Is that the same Charles Barkley that predicted Portland was going to win?
All right.
So you nitpicking what he said. You said he said Anthony Davis ain't not that dog, but you didn't mention he was absolutely wrong.
Charles is much better on critiquing players and like social issues that we're about to talk about in a few minutes on this show than he is predicting.
I wouldn't say that either, because Charles Barkley said some stupid shit in reference to issues that, social issues as you would say, Skip. And his take on basketball players isn't always as enlightening as you would make it so also, Skip. So I would have to disagree with both of those.
Game. He is foolish when he predicts games.
Can I ask you a question? So was Kevin Durant, when he's leaving OKC, going to Golden State, was he Pippen?
going to Golden State.
Yes, with Kevin Durant.
No, I told you why he left.
It doesn't matter, Smith.
Yes, it does. What are you talking about? There you go again. You're moving the goalposts.
Yeah.
Nah, he's not moving the goalposts. He's just mentioning shit that doesn't have anything to do with the topic, and you're falling for it. That's all he's doing. And like I mentioned as I mentioned earlier in the video, Shannon will say other things that don't pertain to the topic to confuse Skip.
I dug in up front on that in 2012. I said on television, on ESPN, Kevin Durant is going to leave Russell Westbrook because he can't stand playing with a primary ball-handling decision-maker who gets to decide every time up the court, my turn or your turn. I think it's my turn and I got the ball in my hands. And we're seeing it right now with James. Can James win with Russ? It's hard.
Yeah. We got here because Jay Williams said LeBron James and Scottie Pippen for going to leak up with D-Wade.
Now-
And now you...
Yes, please, let's get back to the topic, because y'all just mentioning shit that don't have nothing to do with it. Let's get back to LeBron James and Jay Williams' comparison of him and Scottie Pippen. And also, isn't that what's in the backdrop? Just saying.
Change it again.
Oh, no, you changed the subject because you asked a bizarre question that was off subject. Now we get to Jay Williams. And he says, LeBron was a Pippen with D-Wade once. Well, no, he wasn't. And there we agree. Okay, it's just wrong-headed. I don't know what Jay is trying to say because, no, he wasn't. What had LeBron just done? Well, he'd won back-to-back MVPs. Did Scottie Pippen ever win an MVP? No, he didn't. That 1 year without Jordan when I think he finished third, I believe. Okay.
And he was the All-Star Game MVP.
He was an All-Star Game MVP, but at that point, LeBron had been a 6-time All-Star and twice won All-Star Game MVP. He is Jordan-esque in his talent.
Right.
I don't think he has anywhere near Jordan's intangibles. That's highly debatable, but the point was he tried in Cleveland to do it by himself, and he ran into my Spurs in the 07 finals, and it's like, I'm the best player on the floor, but I got swept. And he was. He's the most talented player on the floor, and it's really by far that he was the most talented player. And then we turn around in 09, and he hits the shot heard around the world to save Game 2 at home against the Orlando Magic. And then it starts to get rocky again, and he loses that series in 6 games. Flamed out. And then the next year, Boston became his last year, the first go-around in Cleveland. And you know what happened. It flamed out. He played one of the all-time great games on a Friday night at Boston in Game 3, and they're up 2-1, and they go, loss.
You see what you do, though, Skip? When LeBron James loses, he averaged 36 in that series.
Okay.
Well, hold on, Skip, just let me finish.
And see, he bringing up numbers again. Excuse me. You see, Shannon just bringing up numbers when it comes to LeBron James, but he doesn't want to really expound on what's the word I'm looking for? He doesn't really want to expound on those big losses that LeBron James has taken. Because LeBron James has been swept before. So let's not make it seem like LeBron James is just a perfect player either. But the things that fans do for the players that they like so much, amazing.
When LeBron James loses, he always flames out.
And also, LeBron James is going to get most of the blame also because when you decree yourself to be the greatest player of all time, you're supposed to play like the greatest player of all time. And also, the media does this. They give this picture like LeBron is just a great leader, and he's not. I don't care what anyone says. Just because you can pass the ball and average 8 assists doesn't mean that you're a great leader.
Jordan loses, all you do is say, look at the numbers that he put up. You cannot have it both ways.
Timeout. Against Boston, it got so bad that someone from LeBron's camp leaked to ESPN that LeBron had to be sedated before games 4, 5, and 6.
Yeah, he had to be sedated because allegedly his teammates was banging out his mama. Allegedly.
flame-out games for LeBron and the Cavaliers against the Boston Celtics because of an interpersonal issue, inter-locker room issue with a teammate. And I called baloney. In fact, I said, I need to be sedated because that got leaked because I don't believe he was sedated before those games. Then Dan Gilbert publicly accused LeBron of quitting in those games against the Boston Celtics, which obviously was leading to LeBron's departure. I take my talents to South Beach. He needed a big brother. This is what he was. LeBron at that point was Batman with Robin's intangibles. He didn't know how to win yet. He needed somebody, Dwayne Wade, a very close friend and a big brother figure, to teach him to win. You had to go to Baltimore and you taught some of those younger players, this is how you do it. This is how you handle yourself. And Dwayne taught LeBron how to control his emotions, how to channel his energy in the right direction, how to quit reading social media, quit listening to what I say or anybody else says, and lock in on the goal at hand, which is fun.
He still listens to, excuse me, he still listens to the media. He still has meltdown. So those great lessons that Dwayne Wade taught LeBron, they haven't stuck with him. And on your point, Skip, in reference to him having to find a big brother, so to speak, that should show you that LeBron James is not a leader.
Finally, in 2012, beating the Oklahoma City Thunder. But it took 2011. It was the all-time flameout for a superstar in the finals. It was the meltdown of meltdowns by LeBron James, and it taught him a lesson. I need to learn how to do this, and Dwayne helped him immensely, and everybody believes that. But nobody believes that he went there as Scottie Pippen. Everybody saw him
That's
as
what Jay Williams said.
Okay, well, that started it. So it was so wrong-headed by Jay Williams, in my opinion. Why would LeBron even respond to it? Why would you honor it? Why would you validate it? Why would you fuel the controversy?
The same reason when they asked Michael Jordan, could LeVar Ball beat him one-on-one in his prime? The exact same reason Michael Jordan responded. Because at some point in time, I'm just not going to let you keep spewing.
Really?
Ooh, jive.
Huh, interesting. Well, what does it really matter in the throes of the playoffs? We're about to, they're starting tonight.
Are they playing that? Well, they were playing. You make it seem like he was in the middle of a timeout, and Frank Vogel was drawing up a play, and he tweeted that response.
What happened to 0 dark 30?
He said it wasn't that. Didn't he say that?
Well, I thought that was because of social racial justice issues that he could follow
That's
those
not what
on
he said.
social
That's not what he
media.
said,
Well, I
Skip.
thought that
That's
was
not
the
what he
point.
said. Skip, he made it abundantly clear that he was not going to be that because it was a different situation. He's not at home, and he needs to keep his phone on, so his kids, his wife, his mom, and things of that nature. So you've already made that abundantly clear. This is going to be unique.
Well, he kept his phone on in all those 0 dark 30 years. You don't think his wife couldn't get a hold of him at the arena? You don't think he had a cell phone that he kept open for his wife, Savannah?
No, what you call him? Randy probably had that.
Okay, well, he could be reached.
Yeah.
And it's the same thing now, so don't give me that. So LeBron tweets. Explain to me why I can't say the word. I don't know why LeBron tweets these words.
Yeah, tweet it, Ron.
Explain to me what I got to do with this subject matter. Well, explain to me, LeBron, why you would even involve yourself in this subject
See,
matter.
that's what I don't get. When Jordan responds to something someone says,
You know what? It's the first and probably last.
And then my thing is, too, is that LeBron James responded to Jay Williams. Why? Jay Williams is a, is a burnout. This guy barely had an NBA career. So why respond to someone like that? Which should let you know that LeBron James isn't just focused on the playoffs and winning the championship, because he has time to post stupid shit like this. And where's the intelligence? Explain to me what the fuck I gotta do with this subject matter. I'm over here minding my damn business, preparing for Houston, and by the way, I ain't never been nobody but my damn self. King shit. Corny, man.
Last time I ever saw Michael respond to anything, I covered him when he was a player. He just scoffed at anything.
Let me ask you a question. So when they talked about him and Clyde Drexler being in the same class, did he scoff or did he respond?
Respond on the court?
No. Did he
He responded on the court.
Skip, stop it.
Well, he didn't go to the media and say,
You what, Skip? Did he, in the last dance, when they asked him about Clyde Drexler, did he respond, Skip?
now?
See?
Well, what are you talking about?
What's up,
Did he respond? This is, we're talking about, he's playing right now. Is LeBron still active?
No, he was not playing.
Oh.
LeBron James was in. Skip. You see?
LeBron, he's trying to get ready. He says, I'm over here minding my damn business. Well, mind it. Mind your business.
Yeah.
What?
Exactly, Skip.
He responded this for?
Let me ask you a question. Let me ask you a question. Richard Jefferson, under your scenario, so was Karl Malone or Scottie Pippen or what? Because he's a two-time league MVP, and he didn't win. So what was Karl Malone?
He was a Jordan.
Why? He didn't win nothing.
Yeah,
I thought
he ran up against the Jordan.
No.
That's all. It's period. End of story.
No.
He was an alpha.
No.
He was the takeover. He had killer will.
So Charles Barkley. So what was Charles Barkley? He was a Pippen.
Yep, he was. Well, he was.
Skip, this is ridiculous.
No, it's not ridiculous. I backed you into a corner again, and it's okay.
Yeah.
I'm telling you exactly what's going on here. There's no need for LeBron to respond to this.
Why can't he respond?
Because you know and I know he was not Pippen going to Miami. This somehow hit some nerve.
Skip, if someone says something enough, you know that because we got a guy in the White House because he said something enough and people started to believe it. You know how this business works, Skip.
I don't know about the White House, but I'll let you have that.
Skip, if somebody says something enough, people will start to believe it. For Richard Jefferson to say that Giannis Antetokounmpo is a Scottie Pippen.
He said he might be.
So let me ask you
And he is.
Let me ask you a question.
He is.
Let me ask you a question.
You can keep saying it.
Let me
I
ask-
said it already.
Let me ask you a question. When Giannis Antetokounmpo got into the league, what was Richard Jefferson's thoughts on it? Did he think he would be MVP? Let alone two. Did he think he would be one? So he might be. So let me ask you a question. He should come out like you tell me. Be definitive on it. Don't say might. Say he is, and he's not going to win a title. That's what he should say. Jay Williams, for you to say LeBron is Scottie Pippen, you do realize that LeBron has 4 MVP. He had 2 at the time.
I
It was
said that.
he was a 6-time first team All-NBA
Okay.
before he ever stepped foot.
I got it. You are correct. So in the end, all I care about is in the biggest picture that LeBron went to Miami as a Batman with Robin intangibles. That was the point. You could see it in Cleveland. He needed somebody to show him the way.
Let me ask you a question. Had Chris Bosh and D. Wade had elected to come to Cleveland, or he could have got another superstar to join him in Cleveland, do you believe he leaves? Yes or no?
In Cleveland?
If he could have gotten a superstar
He needed help.
Yeah.
He needed lots of help. He joined forces with 2 All-Stars, and he joined forces with the guy that I had already proclaimed was the best clutch player in basketball at that point. You can look it up.
Actually, so what was Kobe? Was Kobe still in the league then?
But listen, Dwayne Wade was special. He took on his shoulders a team pretty much by himself, and he went to the free throw line that is LeBron's liability. You know it, and I know it.
Yeah.
And he carried them to a finals victory over the Mavericks.
Yeah.
That's what he did.
The blasphemy is so egregious with LeBron, and that you want to make this point about LeBron, that now you say Dwayne Wade was more clutch than Kobe Bryant. Everybody universally said Kobe is the closest thing to Jordan as far as mentality, as far as clutchness, as far as
Look at Kobe's.
I mean, most people would say that he's the closest thing to Jordan, but I wouldn't say that. He was a great doppelganger, but he wasn't the closest thing to Jordan. As far as proficiency, just the mentality of going in the game, they have similar, but just based off proficiency, Kobe is not on Michael Jordan's level. God rest his soul, and never will be.
Record in taking clutch shots, it wasn't that great. Kobe was a great player, and he was the closest thing overall to Jordan.
Well, hold on.
But you want to talk about making clutch plays and shots? Go see that guy in Wade County. Go check him out. He was special.
LeBron James got more clutch shot than both of them.
He doesn't. He's missed more clutch time free throws than any star in the history of this league.
So now we go back to free throws. You said shots. You didn't mention free throws.
No, do you know how many times he's run from the three-point line, run to the three-point line, and run from the free throw line?
You know how many times he made
Here's the final point about Scottie Pippen. The reason the analogy doesn't quite work is Pippen was never in search of a Jordan, in need of a Jordan. He fell into Jordan's lap. He got drafted by the Chicago Bulls.
Well, actually, Scottie Pippen might be Jordan, because I know Jordan couldn't get out of the first round until Pippen got there.
You know, talk about one.
And that's the point that I definitely wanted to diffuse in reference to Michael Jordan and Scottie Pippen. And Shannon, he would say that, and to show you that Skip, he gets confused by a lot of things that Shannon says. But anyone who really watches basketball and has knowledge of basketball, Scottie Pippen was drafted in 1987. That same year that Scottie Pippen was drafted, Michael Jordan went to the second round of the playoffs. And since Scottie Pippen was drafted that year, Scottie Pippen wasn't getting a lot of minutes, and he wasn't even averaging that many points. I don't even think Scottie Pippen even averaged 10 points per game. I could be wrong, but he wasn't that big of a figure when he was first drafted for Shannon to say that Michael Jordan never made it out the first round without Scottie Pippen. When Michael Jordan got to the second round the year Scottie Pippen was drafted. And Scottie Pippen didn't have that big of a role as he later did with the Chicago Bulls.
Facts. Like you tell me facts. Ain't no conjecture here.
Okay.
That's bullshit, Shannon. Like I said, the year Scottie Pippen was drafted, Michael Jordan went to the second round of the playoffs. And like I said, with Scottie Pippen just being drafted, he wasn't in the form that he was in later years as they were winning championships. But Michael Jordan made it to the second round of the playoffs. If you really want to say without Scottie Pippen, because he was already blossoming into a great player, and Scottie Pippen was just coming into the league. And if you don't believe me, you can check this all on Google. Just look up the 1987 Chicago Bulls. 1987 was the year Scottie Pippen was drafted. And they went to the second round of the playoffs. And Scottie Pippen didn't contribute a lot to that. It was mostly Jordan. That's facts.
Point out one series. My final point to you. I want you to find one Michael Jordan playoff series in which he flamed out, shrank, and disappeared like your man did in the 2011 finals, or the 2010 against Boston, or the 2009 against Orlando. Find me one. Go look. You can have the rest of the show, and if you can bring it back, we'll do the topic, because you won't be able to find one.
So it's like losing. Whether you lose by 50 or you lose by 1, you lost. He averaged 70. And they lost. He averaged 43 and they lost. He averaged 35 and they lost. He couldn't get out of the first round until he got Scottie Pippen. That ain't conjecture.
Did anybody ever report that Michael...
Like I said, lies. As I stated earlier in the video.
Jordan needed to be sedated for the last 3 games
I know what
that
he
he
needed.
lost.
I know he needed Scottie Pippen.
Okay.
He needed that's the shot he needed. Scottie
Guys,
Pippen.
as much as I enjoyed that and both of you came ready, we got it.
And that's going to be the end of this video. I didn't want to really make it this long. I'm going to have some more content on the way. Thank you. And peace.